Going on YouTube, Cloverbell's here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are going to be building and showcasing a global challenge team. So I've been asked about this a couple of times here, so I figured let me at least put one team out, so this way it can help somebody in case they don't really know what to use or what to bring. And here's my take on the global challenge. You can technically still bring your best of 3 teams to the GC, because if you're a good player and your team is, fundamentally sound and you know how to use it, you can do very, very well. And this has been proven time and time again, regardless of the best of 1 feature. If you know how to use your team and you're using good mods, you will do just fine, and you can even out cheese the best of 1 cheese, as they say. Okay, now that being said, of course, there are always a few people that want to mix things up and they want to use some crazy sets and make things a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting. And they also have had a ton of success overall here, right? And that's also another way to play. And another option is to honestly just use like a standard 6, but take advantage of the fact that these 6 Pokemon can run multiple items, multiple sets, and even multiple Terras. And that's what makes them very, very threatening in the GC, right? So for example, something like a Whimsicott is very threatening in a global challenge, right? And you might think, well, isn't that a more standard Pokemon? Yes, it is. But the problem is you don't know what moves it has or the item. And Whimsicott is a Pokemon that can run 10 different moves, and you never know what they might run. They might even run something like Cotton Spore, for example, right? And you never know. They might even have fake tears. They might have the Sash and the Encore stuff, or Endeavor. That's what I meant to say. So something like this is, a strength to take advantage of in the global challenge. A Pokemon that can use multiple movesets, right? Another option is something like even Annihilate, right? Because the Ape, you don't know if it's Choice Scarf Final Gambit. You don't know if it's a Berry Bulk Up set. You don't know if it's Coaching, for example. So again, this is what I'm talking about. Multiple Pokemon that otherwise may seem standard that can run multiple sets, and you just don't quite know because again, it is ladder, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put an otherwise standard 6, but we're going to take advantage of the fact that they can run multiple sets and items, and sometimes it's tricky to figure out, and before you know it, it's just too late, because again, they have already cheesed you and they're going to end up winning the game. So what I've decided to put out here, I'm going to show you an Archaludon rain team here, right? Now, not just any kind of Archaludon rain, we're also going to slap on a Maushold here, but no Annihilate, okay? So I'm gonna put the Maushold here, right? And you might think, oh, these two together, this is probably just beat up, right? And proc stamina boost. You can technically play that way, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We're gonna, first of all, we're gonna use Population Bomb, not the beat up set. And what we're also gonna use is we're going to take advantage of Rain Dance. Yes, we're bringing Rain Dance Maushold onto this team here. And now this could do a couple of things, because now when you lead these two, okay, maybe it's beat up, who knows, but it's probably beat up, but then they click Rain Dance, and now all of a sudden you can click Electroshot and just nuke something, right? Otherwise, you could just lead Maushold, which is one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, not named Sneasler, blow something up with Population Bomb. Okay, this is faster than a lot of base speed 100s, faster than the 105s that are also running around. Population Bomb Maushold is annoying to play against, right? You just nuke something, okay? And then at the same time, of course, you can have something like a Basculegion onto the team. And now you can have options like Rain Dance Maushold and then activate Swift Swim on Basculegion. And now with the Basculegion, with the rise of that Focus Sash set, now it's even better in the global challenge, because now you don't know if it's Choice Band, you don't know if it's Choice Scarf adaptability, right? Or now it's also Focus Sash with Protect. And instead of Wave Crash, it's actually just Liquidation, so this way you can keep your Sash, right? So this way, if you Grassy Glide it, the most annoying thing in the global challenge is when a Rillaboom will Grassy Glide something, and then, like this, and it's Focus Sash, and and it gets to survive. Same thing, if you click Electroshot into this thing and it survives, now all of a sudden it can click that Liquidation or even that Last Respects and whatnot. And again, this is again one of those combos that you can take advantage of in a GC, right? Rain Dance Maushold. Then, of course, we can still have our standard weather setter here in Pelipper, right? This is also totally fine, but again, with the rise of different sets, you don't know if this is a Sash Pelipper. You don't know if this is Covert Cloak Pelipper. You don't know if this is a Choice Scarf Pelipper, which is also running around right now, right? So you can take advantage of that. Is this Tailwind? Is this Icy Wind? Okay, is this Muddy Water? Is this Hurricane? You know, what is on this Pelipper? Pelipper wants to run like at least 8 moves. I can tell you that much. So the other idea that you can do with this, and this is also still technically known because we've seen this at the regional level, you can take advantage of the Choice Scarf Soak set, and now you can lead these two, soak something, blow it up with Electroshot, and then come back later, for the end game and reset. And now you have a fast Pelipper that can click Hurricanes. You can click, Muddy Waters and whatnot. So this is something that you can also take advantage of, right? So we got Soak Pelipper, we've got Rain Dance, Population Bomb, Maushold, we got Sash Basculegion with either, in my opinion, you could do Adaptability or Swift Swim. It just really depends on you. I was testing both, pros and cons, obviously, but in the end, I was still going with Swift Swim just because I had Tailwind on this Pelipper, which means I can outpace the Tailwind mirrors because I have Swift Swim and Tailwind on my side, right? And now with this Archaludon set, even the Archaludon, this could be Power or Meteor Beam. Okay, and this could also be Sturdy, right? You don't know. Or it could just be the standard Assault Vest set with Stamina, right? But even then, you also have to consider some moves like this, like Snarl, for example. Snarl Archaludon is something that is used, and you won't know, and it'll catch you on surprise if they use it. It's also known to use Aura Sphere. Oh, yeah, there we go. I spelled it wrong. I was like, I know it gets this move, Aura Sphere, right? This is another move that it could get. And we've seen Terra fighting Archaludon teams before, where it can use Terra fighting and it can use Aura Sphere. This is funny when you get to use it, right? Otherwise, we can still play it relatively standard and still have Electroshot and Snarl. Of course, Body Press is still pretty good. Now, I like the Terra fighting set here, and traditionally, the way this was used in the past was that this was a bold-natured Archaludon with Snarl. Okay, so this way, you're physically bulky. You can live the Sneasel close combat, freeing up extra EVs where you can put that into more special defense or even a little bit more into speed. And that's going to be important in certain mirror matchups, and as well as the Snarl case, right? Snarl is great into stuff like Goldango, Blood Moon, or Saluna, for example, where you can like KO a couple slots and then just trap them with the Snarl tech, and then they just don't do any damage afterwards. So you can definitely play this way. But yeah, this is the core of the squad. And then for the last couple of slots here, I just threw in Sinistcha because, a little bit more recovery. And then you get Trick Room support. You get Rage Powder, Matcha Gotcha, right? And then here you can run Strength Sap, for example, right? You could run that if you want. Otherwise, I think Life Dew was just also really, really solid, especially with something like Archaludon here. I was running a Citrus Berry. So otherwise, this is a pretty standard Sinistcha, right? And then this last move here, I thought about just throwing in Ursaluna, and I was testing it a couple of times, and it was pretty good. But I still think something like Kingambit can fit onto this team, and that's also what I was testing, especially with the safety goggles to get around Amoonguss. Now, Goggles Gambit, the reason why I had this a little bit more over the Ursaluna was just to improve the expanding force psyspam stuff for a bit, especially against those that Espathra stuff. The Gambit can do relatively well into something like that. So I kept it rather than the Ursaluna, and it was just really for that psyspam matchup, more or less. Okay, but otherwise, this was the 6 that I was rolling with. All right, and it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it was quite funny just clicking Rain Dance and then just blowing something up with Liquidation, right? Because you end up outspeeding everything, and then just coming into the end game with Archaludon just electroshotting things left and right. It was also funny just clicking Soak and clicking Electroshot, right? And then Sinistcha just makes it so that Archaludon / Gambit just doesn't die over time, right? And even just using Maushold Population Bomb to nuke something in the early game, right? Take out something, and then in the end game, stuff like Basculegion Gambit could just finish things off, right? So this is the 6 that I'm going to give you guys, all right? So let's just finish off the team here. So Terra fighting Archaludon, Electroshot, Body Press, Snarl, and then Flash Cannon here. We're going to forego the Dragon move here. This is almost like a hybrid offensive yet supportive Archaludon here. If you like Draco, okay, sure, you can probably take off Snarl for that, but I like Snarl. It was actually quite useful here. All right, this was the same Pelipper set that I was using, Scarf Tailwind, right, with Terra Ghost here. Now, you might be stuck clicking Soak in Tailwind after that initial turn, but you can always pivot that out for something like a Maushold or a Sinistcha next to your Archaludon, which is what you want to do, right? You want to give this thing extra bulk and healing by constantly pivoting these guys in and out. So switching out the Pelipper is no problem. All right, and then the Maushold here, this, of course, you can still have Follow Me and then Protect here. And now what you could even do is just have a mode where you have Maushold Kingambit going for Follow Me Swords Dance, right? And then Protect, and then you could even pivot in the Sinistcha to help the Gambit out here and redirect fighting type attacks in general, right? So I think something like this is also really solid. You can also redirect ground type attacks. So value of Sinistcha looks really good on a team like this. The Maushold here, we'll go Terra Ghost. Again, the fake out stuff is annoying. Basculegion here, of course, you can have priority Aqua Jet here. And this is a standard Sash Basculegion set. Terra Water, of course. Sinistcha here, I like Dark. Again, Dark can also help you into that psyspam matchup if you have to. You know, just being able to click that and not take E-Force and also heal your ally with Life 2 can go a long way. And then the Gambit here, I also still kept the Terra Dark with a standard set of Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch, Swords Dance, and Protect here. And I was still Terra Dark. So this is it. This is the open team sheet for this Global Challenge team. Now, just to slap on some easy EVs. So with Archaludon, like I said, I was going to go bold. I am going to go up to 212 here. This is going to be pretty good against Rillaboom grassy terrain that people would be baited into bringing because they see stuff like Pelipper and Basculegion there. They just want to click Grassy Glide and click Wood Hammers and whatnot. So something like this where you optimize the HP for that is actually quite useful. Then, how much speed do I want to put? I just went to about 115 there. This is just for like the Timid Blood Moons, if anything. And that's all I really cared about, more or less. If you want to put a little bit more, like go to like 120, you can put a little bit more speed if you want. But I felt like 115 was already pretty solid altogether. Then after this, I just went 1 point into the Bolt set. This is all you need technically for the Close Combat Sneezer if it's Adamant Nature. It's a very, very strong roll for you. And then after this, I just dumped the rest into like Spadef here. And while putting a little bit of special attack just to break 150 for that nice solid even number here. All right, so it's a weaker Archaludon, right? It doesn't hit as hard as some of the other ones you're normally used to because those are modest. But again, if things are just taking super effective electroshock damage thanks to Soak, then you don't really need a whole lot of special attack, okay? You just need to be able to survive and keep clicking that move. So this is why Bold Nature is quite nice onto this. And then you have recovery from Sinistcha to keep you around for a little bit longer. So pretty good synergy here. The Pelipper here, I just kept it standard, right? When I was just testing this, I was just going 252, 252. The Maushold, same idea. All right, I'm going to be nuking, so I'm just going to also be clicking Population Bomb and going max speed here. And that's really all I want out of the Maushold. Same thing with here, Basculegion. You see how easy this team is to build here. So if you need something quick and easy, then this is a team that you can use. All right, so 3 Pokemon here are 252. The Sinistcha here, I'll just go with my standard Calm set. I never had a problem with this. This is optimal for the terrain recovery and the berry. I can hit the second bump here, right, and go to 143 and then dump the rest here into defense. And if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're still trying to get better at competitive Pokemon and you're trying to learn how to create EV spreads like this Sinistcha or even this Archaludon here, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply and respond to you because this is a very fundamental skill you need to understand if you want to get down your basics for creating EV spreads and your team building in general. So comment what are EV bumps and I'll reply to you. Otherwise, we have a whole video that goes over it. If you look in our description below in every single video, you'll find one of 3 videos there. And one of them is titled, What are EV Bumps? Click it, watch it. It goes through a couple of examples and it should help you a lot, especially if you are a beginner. All right. Anyway, back to this Gambit here. So Gambit, I just wanted to go Adamant max attack here and just enough HP. You know, I was just putting like 1 point into the bulk stats. To be honest, and that's really all I needed. From here, I was just re-optimizing my HP value, but also technically I went something like this, right? 132, and then I put a little bit more into speed. I was like, nah, I don't really need this. Like this outspeeds Garchomp under Tailwind, which is okay, I guess, right? If you want to keep it like that, but I didn't need it. I just went up to 52. This is all right, just to have some speed advantage in the non-Trick Room matchup against other Kingambits and other Ursalunas. And then this 64 EVs, I just put them into HP. If you have your own Kingambit goggle set or spread that you use, feel free to use it. I'm just putting a basic one out here. If you don't like any of the speed, take it away and put it into a bulk. It's up to you. Otherwise, I was still just running with this. If you wanted to like just break up your bulk, you could just do something like this, right? And then that's it. This is your Gambit set. So if this is more up your alley, then feel free to use something like this. Otherwise, you know, use the other one that I was using. But yeah, anyway, so from here, we got the team, right? So you can see how relatively easy it is to build, especially now that the global challenge is going to be starting soon. So if you need this, here it is. I'm just going to show you a couple of test games where the team is played, so this way you can get some ideas on how to play it, and hopefully it serves you well. All right, so let's jump into a couple games and let's see how it plays. Okay, so against something like this, where you have like these Charizard, Torkoal, Sun teams, this is where manual Rain Dance from Maushold is going to be very, very useful, right? Because a couple of reasons, right? They want to pivot in their Torkoal into you, and technically Tyranitar teams will do that too, just because they are going to be slower, right? So this is where Rain Dance Maushold is going to be great in a global challenge, right? Because you could immediately change their weather, and now they're stuck when they switched in. Now all of a sudden they have to take the time to switch out, right? And then switch back in later. That's very passive, and then you can get punished for that very easily in a couple of turns, because now you're not dealing damage, you're just constantly trying to pivot in your weather, and it's not even safe, right? So very easily, I just wanted to lead Maushold Basculegion. Even if he led Rillaboom, this is why you have redirection support, right? So Maushold Basculegion comes out here. We don't care about Sucker Punch. We have a Sash. There's the Torkoal. This guy has no idea what's coming. There's the Terrifier Charizard. Rain Dance comes out. Goodbye, Zard. Torkoal is now stuck in here. That crit doesn't matter. And all of a sudden, he sees that, and he says, you know what? I just got best of one cheese. I'm forfeiting, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. Rain Dance Maushold Basculegion leads. You can pack someone up in a couple of turns. All right, this is hard Trick Room with Torkoal. There's Final Gambit Annihilate. So this is, again, value where Terra Ghost Maushold is going to come in handy, but also technically Pelipper can come in handy too, right? Just because we have Muddy Water Pressure, we have Hurricane support, and we have Weather Control on our side. So pivoting the Pelipper at the right time is going to be useful. And Basculegion endgame with the Sash is also going to be useful, because we can take one attack and live, and, you know, because we have the Sash, then next turn we can protect. So that's already like 2 turns of Trick Room gone, and then next turn we could even sweep, right? So that's how I envision this. But I still like Gambit against the psyspam stuff. So let's see if he brings it. It's going to go Maushold and Indeedee here, right? Very interesting enough. That's fine by us. He's going to go Terra Fairy Indeedee, right? So Follow Me comes from the Maushold. We blow up their Maushold with the Population Bomb, right? Friendguard Maushold with Gambit is still strong. Don't forget that, right? So we take out his Maushold, and I take this opportunity to go for the free Swords Dance, right? If you're going to be passive setting up Trick Room, then I'm going to take advantage and set up Swords Dance. Now comes into Torkoal. Guess what happens here? We go into Pelipper. Okay, I want to hit that Torkoal, so I'm going to go for Terra Dark here. And maybe he redirects, maybe he doesn't, maybe he clicks Helping Hand and gets greedy. In this case, he played it safe. He clicked Follow Me. Counter-Cleave does more than 50% to Terra Fairy. But now I want to make sure and scout for something like Dazzling Gleam. So I'm just going to protect Gambit here and just use the Pelipper for my offense here. D-Gleam comes out, does a lot. All right, Muddy Water, great damage into Ursaluna. Okay, and now he's also on a timer, because now he's taking Burn Chip every turn. Here comes Torkoal yet again, still 2 turns of Trick Room. I'm going to go into Maushold here. All right, I tried for the second Protect. I don't get it, so that's fine. I lose the Gambit here, but at this point, I'm playing to stall the Trick Room, and I'm playing to rely on my fast mode after this, right? So I lose 2 Pokemon here, but guess what? I've got Pelipper, and I've got Basculegion now in the endgame. Basculegion kind of just wins, right? So all I have to do is just protect it this turn, and then even though the Pelipper takes out or gets taken out by the Weather Ball, this is still fine, right? Because now we can just still pressure the Torkoal and the Ursaluna either way. We have a Sash, there's no Trick Room. Even if he protects, it doesn't matter. He can't really beat the Basculegion regardless. So there it is. Headlong Rush comes out, and now he's on the timer, okay? Because now even if we protected the other slot the other turn, we just protect, and then he gets stalled out by the burn. And that's exactly how he wants to go out here to his own burn. But yeah. All right, this is that Espathra side spam stuff here. So I like Gambit into this stuff because it discourages the Arcanine, and it pressures the Espathra and the Indeedee as well, right? And I also technically like Maushold here because besides the unburdened Indeedee stuff, you outspeed everything here. So you could technically nuke something for big damage, and also at the same time, you have Rain Dance against the Ninetales where you can override its weather if you have to. You can also technically bring in Pelipper here, which is also very useful against the Arcanine. It's great into the Sneasler as well. Okay, and of course you also have like endgame shenanigans with soak stuff with the Archaludon in the back here. So I'm gonna lead the Gambit. I want to see how he decides to play it. So Maushold Gambit comes out here. He's going to go Indeedee and he's going to go the Hydreigon here. So Follow Me is on the board. Okay, but this is fine. I want to see if he actually wants to do that. So I'm just going to nuke the Hydreigon immediately. And look how much damage Population Bomb is doing. So that Hydreigon is gone. Now, I could have also taken the time to Swords Dance, but again, he does pivot into this Ninetales here, which is fine because I've got Pelipper in the back waiting. So there's the Kowtow Cleave. All right, now he brings in the Sneasler. So this is fine. He gets this Bidef boost. But now we go into Pelipper. And then we go Terra Ghost Maushold just in case for the close combat. So there's a Terra Water Ninetales. That's fine. There's the CC. We resist. Obviously, we pivoted into our flying type. And now we Population Bomb the Ninetales because, again, this thing Terra Watered. So that means no Terra on the Sneasler. Defense is already down. Can't switch out and reset it. So that's pretty much it. This guy got scared. Probably had something like... Again, the Indeedee's going to go down here. There's not much he can do after that. Right? We just nuke it. And then Pelipper is free to do whatever it wants. And we still have stuff like Gambit, right? So, yeah. Alright, P2 balance stuff. This is where something like Pelipper Soak with the Electroshot Archaludon is going to really come in handy, right? Because you can soak the Ursalunas, the Amoonguses, the Porygons, normally hard to break through. You can soak that and just smash it for big damage, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Pelipper here, and we're going to go Archaludon, and he's going to go Hydreigon, and he's going to go Amoongus here. All right, so this is interesting for him, right? He goes into Ursaluna right now. The Amoongus was the most annoying thing on the board. The Hydreigon, I didn't really care. So, right, he went for Tailwind. He didn't even go for Snarl. I thought he would Snarl, but this is why I clicked Electroshot. We nuked that Ursaluna. It's almost dead. That is huge damage to switch into, right? So now he's already thinking, oh no, what is this? Snarl comes out. I went Terra Fighting. I could have body pressed this thing, but listen, I want to ramp up my damage here. So I'm just going to soak that thing, and he's going to just boost up my defense, which is fine. I have Sinistcha in the back, by the way, so this is good for me. Right, here comes the Electroshot. We nuked the Archaludon. Thanks for coming. All right, and now, next turn, that Ursaluna is on the clock here, right? So here's Goldengo. This is fine. Let's pivot out into Sinistcha. Let's get some value here with the healing. Okay, Protect Goldengo is fine. Ursaluna again goes for a Headlong Rush. A little bit of chip, but, you know, just to try and go out on a win with something. Snarl comes out. I was trying to trap the Goldengo here, but yeah. Here we are. So now one more turn of Tailwind. There's the Amoongus. Again, this is fine. Make it rain. Decent damage, right? Goldengo now at -1 here. Now we just go Flash Cannon. A little bit of chip there, right? And now I go for Life Dew. A little bit more healing. Okay, and then he does Click Spore. That's fine. Which is okay because look, now what I can do is this. He can Nasty Plot if he wants. He can go back to +1. Now, he does click Sludge Bomb. He's going to leave the Archaludon on the board. He doesn't want me to get any more body presses. I click Trick Room, right? But again, I want to have the Sinistcha go for Life Dew, stuff like this, right? I'm not doing this for Archaludon. I'm doing this for Sinistcha, okay? Archaludon was already gone and cooked, okay? I just needed the Sinistcha to stay alive. And now I do. I have the Gambit. He does not know we have Goggles. He Terra Fairies for what? I have no idea, okay? Obviously, he wants to redirect the Gambit. But I am faster than... the Goldengo here, and this is what I was playing for, just in case the Kowtow Cleave didn't KO, because I know the Amoongus cannot sport any of these slots, and that's the end game that I was going for. So, Goggles Gambit was great in this game, but so was Soak with the Archaludon. Alright, some interesting Archaludon balance team there. He's got Instant Amoongus and Sinistcha there. I don't think this is Stamina Archaludon. This is probably like Power Meteor Beam stuff, who knows. But again, I still want to go with Archaludon Maushold just to try and nuke something. If he brings Instant, great for him. That would be interesting to bring into a Gambit idea. But I just need to take this Amoongus off the board there. So he goes for Rage Powder. I click Ghost because I don't want to get body pressed. But I just want to nuke this Amoongus immediately. See if there's a berry. right? Now, be careful. They could be Rocky Helmet, but in this kind of format, it's usually the Berry or the Mental Herb more than the Helmet. The Helmet was more of a Legends thing against something like Chenpao and whatnot. So this is fine. That was all the damage I need because now Flash Cannon just picks up the Among Us from this range, right? So I was lucky enough for that. Instinct comes back out here. I just need the Maushold to stay on the field with the Friend Guard. So he's just going to click Electroshot here, right? I don't want the Maushold to be taking that. I'd rather take that with Archaludon so I can get a better body press. And thanks for coming in, Sin. You didn't even click Fake Out. Not that you could. But here's the Sinistcha. No value there. And now I can just Snarl, right? So there's the Electroshot again. So he doesn't, quote-unquote, have range. So I can Snarl and keep mitigating damage. Actually call mine Sinistcha. So that's slightly annoying, but this is why Snarl is also really good. And we live the E-Shot. That's great news. And now I just Snarl again. Bring the Archaludon back to neutral, make the Sinistcha -1. So this is good value out of Snarl Archaludon, right? So that being said, Protect on the other Archaludon. Okay, Body Press, not going to hit. That's fine. Matcha Gotcha, thanks for the free switch. Now I can go into another Pokemon, right? I got 2 left. I'm going to go into my own Pelipper this time, okay? Because I want to pressure the Sinistcha. And actually what I want to do is just soak the Arc, right? And just take it out with Electroshot immediately. He goes for my Pelipper. Why wouldn't he? He got baited by the 4x weakness. We're going to do the same thing, and that's going to be pretty much all she wrote. Because now I'm going to have 2 Mons into 1. That Calm Mind is not going to help you. Because now I have Basculegion and Uterra. So now this makes it way easier with Liquidation in the Rain. Body Press also at +3 is just going to remove that Terra Dark Bascu, and then Sinistcha, and that's it. All right, this is Matt's team, but a little worse because they put the Mighty N instead of the Kingambit slot. All right, they wanted to Intimidate and Snarl. He does bring it into this matchup here, but let me just show you what he does. But anyway, I'm gonna go Basculegion. I'm gonna go Maushold here. Again, I have options with the Rain. I also have options with the Nuke. There's the Sinistcha, so that makes it a little bit harder. There's the Mighty N coming in with the Intimidate. So good play by him, because this actually helps him live, right? So the Primarina is going to take all this damage, but the Primarina is also going to survive because it, quote-unquote, has just enough health here, and Basculegion, unfortunately, went into the other slot, right? So Basculegion comes out. That's way too much damage. That's the power of Specs, but I did have Friend Guard here. I'm going to go into Sinistcha here. I just need to be able to survive. He goes into his own Sinistcha, right? And he goes Terra Ghost Mighty Enna, believe it or not. Sucker Punch gets Swift. Population Bomb also gets Swift. So that's fine. Now we're going to go into the Arc here. All right. And now he's just going to activate my Body Press, which again is not going to do anything into 2 Ghost types. So there's that. But I'm lucky if I can get a burn here. Right. Matcha Gotcha comes out. And I do get a burn on a Mighty Enna, which is nice. Right. Strength Sap comes out. Again, that's fine. It's okay. You don't really get too much value there. Super Fang, again, more chip damage. But Snarl looks really great into the Mighty Enna, and even the Sinistcha, because these are 2 ghosts now. Calm Mind again, you're just like the other one. You're neutralizing it because you have Snarl. All you're getting is Spadef boost, but I will win that endgame, especially if I have Sinistcha paired next with my Archaludon here. Okay, so now he's down to Hariyama here, right, and a low health Primarina. So he does click Fake Out. Now he gave me another stamina boost, okay, which is fine, I guess. So now I'm just going to click Matcha Gotcha and try and get a little bit more recovery. Maybe even try and get that burn there because, again, that Hariyama was not Guts. But here we are. Knockoff comes out. He removes my Berry. That's okay. Again, Matcha Gotcha just giving me free defense boost. So, unfortunately, that's not going to be the way to go here. So we thank them very much for getting me to +3 here. There's the Body Press. Still pretty good damage there, right? And now I flip the Trick Room. So now I can just click Body Press again, remove the Hariyama. Okay, more Matcha Gotcha. But again, I am going to live because I have an Assault Vest. And better yet, I get to click Life 2 and keep my Archaludon alive. So now he's down to the low health Primarina. And that's good. So now I can keep it easy. I'm going to go Maushold here. I'm just going to nuke the Primarina. And I'm just going to get a little bit more health back. Reset my Arc there. Right, he also goes Matcha Gotcha. I can't click Body Press into that. So this ends up being quite the game here. So now it's just 4v1. I'm going to go back into Arc here. Right, I'm going to click Rain Dance. Calm Mind comes out. I figured he might try it. So now I have to reposition the mouse, go back into Sinistcha, right? And just keep my Archaludon healthy, keep snarling him, so this way he can't put out damage, and hopefully the burn will get to him, right? And my life dew will outpace his damage, which is what I'm doing here, right? I'm trying to keep Arc relatively healthy. Okay, he misses, that's fine. Again, we're able to resist, but he just doesn't have enough because I'm constantly spamming Snarl, okay? And I'm constantly clicking Life Dew support. So in the end, he realizes the writing on the wall and he decides to forfeit there. So Snarl Archaludon, very, very useful here, okay? And also the Sinistcha clicking Life Dew kept everything I needed to have alive. All right, so here's the pace one more time. Again, you can always find the pace for all of our squads in the video description. So this is our take on a GC. So again, we're using relatively standard mods with the adjustments in some of the items and some of the movesets just to give it that unique GC feel, right? Otherwise, it looks like a standard 6 that has been played before in some tournaments and regionals. All right, the only thing we did was just add, again, our little spice to it, okay? It still has some relatively standard stuff, but obviously, a key move here and there makes all the difference, and that's the beauty of the global challenge. All right, so that's it. Give this one a go. If you need something, let us know how you do with it. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.